In this session, we'll review the installation of a standalone license for Inventor 2010. Before you begin your installation, here are some things you may want to consider. Review the installation documentation. This is located on the DVD-ROM. Check to see if your system requirements meet the minimum requirements for Inventor 2011. Confirm the account you're using to install has full administrative privileges. Turn off any antivirus software. Disable this prior to installing the software. Export any existing shortcut keys from legacy Inventor products such as 2008, 2009, or 2010 Inventor. Also do the same for any custom application option settings. These can be exported to XML files. Prior to running the install, please close all running applications on Windows. Choose a language to install and locate your serial number and product key for the installation. One of the ways to get the product information, serial number and product key, will be from the electronic fulfillment email you receive from Autodesk. If you or your company do not wish to download the product and would rather have the product shipped to you, you will need to notify Autodesk through the Autodesk Subscription Center of this request. When the box is shipped to you, you will find the product key and serial number located on the plastic jacket that contains the software or on a sticker on the cardboard box which it's shipped in. Another area that you could obtain the serial number and the product key information would be to log on to the Subscription Center as your contract administrator, and here you can select the product details. The dialog box for Autodesk Inventor 2011 will appear when a DVD is placed in the CD-ROM and the auto run is fired. Or you could launch this dialog box by double-clicking on the setup.exe located at the root of the DVD. From here, you want to select Install Products from this interface. The installation dialog box will appear, and from this interface you can install your products, you can create deployments, you can install tools and utilities, and you can read the documentation. One other thing you can choose is, in this drop-down, if you had language packs installed, you could then install the different versions of the language. From the main page, you simply now want to choose to install your products. The next screen that comes up is basically the Autodesk installation checklist, where you can review your system requirements for 2011. You can see where the configure button is if you wanted to configure your installations, how you can disable your UAC, and what can and cannot be reversed after an installation. These links simply are links into our help system, which explains the specific topic. I'll select Next, and this brings us to the area to which we can select the products to install. The initial drop-down at the top is the language you want to install. If I had more language packs installed, you'd see more languages in this drop-down. Choose whether you want Autodesk Inventor 2011, the Content Center libraries for Inventor, whether you want AutoCAD Mechanical 2011, the Autodesk Material Library. This is for images for AutoCAD and AutoCAD Mechanical and is not for Inventor. And there's the options at the bottom for the Vault and Design Review. Again, if you're unsure, you can click some of the links located here on the left, and that will bring you to the Help menu for that specific topic. The next screen you'll see is the License Agreement screen. We ask all clients to read through this and then accept the license agreement to continue. The next screen you'll see is simply the User and Product Information screen. Enter your name and company name, and then serial number and your product key to continue. After entering the user and product information, the next screen you'll see is basically a confirmation of the product that is going to install. The serial number and the CD key will actually unlock the different version of Inventor that you have. In this case it's Professional. I'll say Next. And the next screen you'll see is the Begin Installation screen. If you simply want to take the defaults of the system, you can choose Install at this point, and the product should start installing. If you want to configure, choose the Configure button. When you select the Configure button, it will allow you to configure all the products you've selected to install. And the first tab is Inventor 2011, and it wants to specify the license type. In this case, we'll choose Standalone. In the next screen, it will talk about selecting preferences. The user profile, do you want it to look like Inventor, or do you want it to closely resemble AutoCAD? Enabling part modification within the IDW drawing files. Default units of measure, and the default selectable standard for your drawings. Also, there's an option here to create a shortcut on the desktop. In the next screen, it will allow you to select an icon color theme. You could go with a white background, which is a cobalt, or a yellowish tint, which is the amber. In this next screen, talks about your Content Center access options. Do you want to install local desktop content, which is the default, or do you want to select the Vault server, which allows you to point to a server and collect content on a shared basis with other PCs? In the next screen, it talks about the installation type, typical or custom. If you choose custom, it will allow you to select the installed features. If you use typical, they will install by default. Next option you have is the product installation path. You can simply type in the new path that you want here, or you could browse to an existing location. And the last area talks about the disk space required for the installation and the available disk space that you have. In the next screen, it talks about including service packs. If they were available, you could choose to include them from the Autodesk.com website, or if you had them downloaded from the local drive or on a network drive, you could include them in this area. There's also an option down here not to include the service packs. If any service pack was included in the installation, it would install after the initial installation of 2011 took place. In the next screen, it just simply tells you that the configuration is complete for the 2011 Autodesk Inventor, signaled by the check mark. If you want to configure the Content Center library information, you now go ahead and click on that tab. In the Content Center Libraries tab, you simply check on the standards that you want installed for the installation. And at the bottom, you could choose where these library files are going to be installed, or accept the default path listed. And at this point, the configuration for the Content Center libraries is complete. Now I'll go ahead and select the Mechanical tab. In the first screen for AutoCAD Mechanical 2011, it's going to talk about the Autodesk Inventor link. This will allow AutoCAD Mechanical to link to an Inventor part file or an assembly file for detailing purposes. Next will be the Content Library installation. Not to be confused with the Content Center libraries for Inventor, this is the 2D content, screws, nuts, bolts, that AutoCAD Mechanical uses. And this option here will allow you to install it locally, or if you want to pick up a shared location, to choose that path. The next screen will allow you to select the standards you want installed. Then, down at the bottom, it will allow you to choose the default standard. In the next dialog box, it's going to talk about the license type. Do you want a standalone license or a network license for your AutoCAD Mechanical installation? I'll choose standalone. In the next screen, it's going to talk about selecting the installation type. You can choose typical or custom, choose whether you want the Express tools installed. If you choose custom, it allows you to deselect the features you do not want installed. I'll choose typical. Down the bottom, it's going to ask you to create a shortcut on your desktop. You have the option not to do that by unchecking this. The installation path, you can type in the new path here if you wish, or browse to an existing location. And at the bottom, it's going to talk about the disk space required and the available disk space you have. And the next screen talks about installing the service packs after the mechanical installation completes. You could do this from Autodesk.com, or if you had them downloaded locally on your drive or on a network drive, you could add them in this area. And also there's an option not to include the service packs. And at that point, the configuration is complete for AutoCAD Mechanical. And you could hit Configuration Complete button and then go ahead and install the product.